So, first things first, this video is brought to you by the Josh Jack cereal. As far as I know, it is only available in Wyoming and Buffalo, New York itself, but they taste exactly like Fruit Loops, so Josh Allen Fruit Loops can't get any better.
Letting time slip away working for something that you actually don't want to do leads to a lifetime of regret. And just know it's not the end of your story, it's actually just the beginning.
Alright, well, thank you, Dominic, for that wonderful intro. Dominic has been a boy for as long as I can remember, and he's starting a YouTube channel too. One of my great IRL homies, so go check him out. So, in this video, we are going to be talking about Josh Allen himself, the guy who looks really damn good in shorts. We are going to be talking about how he progressed from his rookie season when he was not refined at all, had all the physical tools in the world, but still was not a very good quarterback entering the NFL, and how he basically became one of the best QBs in the league. If you were around at the time of the 2018 NFL Draft, you'll know that there were four main quarterbacks: Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, and Sam Darnold. Basically, the teams that everyone thought could draft a quarterback in that draft. I'm not saying the teams that should have or were going to, but the teams that could have drafted a quarterback in that draft were Cleveland, Giants, Jets, Broncos, Cardinals, Bills, Dolphins, and maybe Washington. And I didn't know a lot about scouting at the time, but the guy I really wanted because I thought he was just a fantastic culture pick. For my own team, the Denver Broncos, was actually Baker Mayfield, but he got drafted first overall, so there was no chance of us getting him. But living out in Colorado, I heard a lot about Josh Allen at Wyoming. Everybody knew that he was this super raw, just absolutely freak athlete. If you guys remember that website, draftjoshallen.com, you'll know that he can palm a watermelon. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but Wyoming is not exactly a powerhouse when it comes to college football. But the question with Allen was never his pure physical talent. It was always, could he be refined? Could he take that next step forward and become an actual good NFL quarterback? So week one of Josh Allen's rookie year, it was Sean McDermott's second year coaching for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills in 2017 were not a good team. Let's just be completely honest. They got into the playoffs because of a very weak AFC, and Tyrod Taylor had to play against Saxonville, got hurt in the playoffs, and then Nathan Peterman came in and does what Nathan Peterman does best. And in Josh Allen's rookie year, the supporting cast around him was incredibly laughable. When your talent at running back is the ghost of LaShawn McCoy and Chris Ivory as your 1-2 punch, you're not going to be scaring many teams with your ground game. The 2018 Bills final roster, here are the wide receivers listed: Victor Bolden, Robert Foster, Zay Jones, Ray McLeod, Isaiah McKenzie, Damari Scott, and Deontay Thompson. I don't know if any of those guys besides Zay Jones, who's like used every now and then, or Isaiah McKenzie, have even cracked a roster or at least gotten an important role on an NFL team. Josh Allen's final stat line from that year: 2,074 passing yards, 52% completion percentage, abysmal, brutal, 10 to 12 touchdown to interception ratio. But the thing that really kept him relevant, and the thing that, we never doubted, was his physical prowess, and he added 89 carries on the ground for 631 yards and 8 touchdowns. The Bills last year were basically seen as a team that was carried by a very, very good defense into that wildcard spot. 2018 going into 2019 offseason, the team acquires John Brown, Cole Beasley, Frank Gore, Mitch Morse, and TJ Yeldon. In the draft, they added Ed Oliver, Cody Ford, Devin Singletary, Dawson Knox. So throughout the 2019 NFL season, we were pretty clearly able to see that the AFC East was playing against awful, awful, awful teams. You think how the Patriots were like one of the best defenses of all time through the midway point of the season, and then they actually started playing real offenses and got insanely exposed. And the same thing kind of happened with Buffalo. Buffalo had a really, really easy schedule, and they ended up going 10-6 and getting that first wildcard spot. But the most important thing is, throughout last season, Buffalo was basically carried by their defense. The Bills were 23rd in total yardage last year, and the only teams the Bills were better than in points per game were Oakland, a tanking Miami, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, who lost all their quarterbacks, Denver, Chicago, Cincinnati, the Jets, and Washington. The Bills' offense last year was pitiful, but the Bills' defense, on the other hand, was the second best in points per game. They were the third best unit in yards per game, and yet we kind of viewed Buffalo as a defensive-minded team. You think of Sean McDermott, he's a defensive head coach. This was their second year under Dable, and to be completely honest, there were a lot of Bills fans who were calling for Dable's head because Let's be honest, up until last year, he wasn't a very good offensive coordinator for Buffalo. And in the wild card game, they had a 16-0 lead against the Houston Texans and ended up blowing it on the back of Josh Allen trying to play hero ball and Deshaun Watson just pulling something out of his ass and just doing typical Deshaun Watson things. This past offseason, the Bills basically said, okay, we need to get Josh Allen, that alpha wide receiver. They did their best to build around him, and they ended up trading the 22nd overall pick to Minnesota for Stephon Diggs. At the time, a lot of people, including myself, thought the Bills got absolutely robbed based on the fact that we've heard a lot of stuff about Stephon Diggs' character. Doesn't really sound like a good guy in the locker room. Was never the alpha of Minnesota because he had to deal with Adam Thielen, and because Kirk Cousins was the third best quarterback on deep balls last year. And Josh Allen, last year, his completion percentage was 58%. So I figured, and a lot of other people figured, that it was only a matter of time before Josh Allen overthrows Stephon Diggs, and Stephon Diggs starts complaining on Twitter again that he misses Kirk Cousins. But with that 22nd overall pick, the Vikings ended up selecting Justin Jefferson. So it was exactly what both teams needed at the time. Now, I'm sure you are all tired of hearing this every time you watch a Bills game, but all the commentators on CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, NFL Network, Bleacher Report, BuzzFeed, all comment on the fact that Josh Allen over this past offseason did something with his mechanics. I've gotten so tired of hearing that I have tuned it out, so I don't exactly know what he did with his mechanics, but he took a mile step forward, and this year the switch completely flipped like that. Buffalo's points per game, 27.6, which is ninth in the NFL. Buffalo's pass yards per game, 284.2, which is fifth in the NFL. Buffalo's yards per game, like total offensive output, 386.8, which is 10th in the NFL. The rushing offense hasn't been good, but when you got Josh Allen back there, he is the RB1. They play the Jets and take care of them. Week 2, they play against the division rival Miami Dolphins, who have been resurgent this year, but they're still kind of in rebuild mode. Josh Allen against the Miami Dolphins, 24 for 35. 4 touchdowns, no picks. Oh yeah, did I mention 415 yards? Week 3, they play the Rams. They blow a gigantic lead, but Josh Allen, 24 for 33, 311 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Then they play the Raiders. They take care of them. They did not look great against the Titans, and that could potentially be concerning because when I think about the 3 best teams in the AFC, if I had to bet right now, Chiefs, Bills, Titans. So there's a very good chance that these teams end up seeing each other in January. Next week, same thing against the Chiefs. I know that the Chiefs' defense is not at 2018 levels or anything like that, where they were literally allowing 700 yards a game, but it still does not strike fear in anyone. They have a few names here and there, but it's still, like I said, it's just not a unit that you need to be overly concerned about. Josh Allen that game, 14 for 27, 122 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. They play the Jets, they take care of business. Against New England, 11 for 18, 154 yards, 1 interception. And I remember this game very vividly because it's the only game where Zach Moss actually looked like an NFL running back. Seattle. This was the game that reminded us that Josh Allen could play. Every time Buffalo touched the ball against Seattle, they scored. And the hot topic across the NFL world was, holy shit, look how bad the Seahawks defense was. Josh Allen in that game, 31 for 38, 415 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then against Arizona, 32 for 49, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, I can't blame him because he basically almost won them the game, but the Bills were just a victim of some DeAndre Hopkins magic. They take care of business against the Chargers. Then against the 49ers on Monday Night Football, Josh Allen goes 32 for 40, 375 yards, 4 touchdowns. Against Pittsburgh, 24 for 43, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So if you're sensing a common trend here, it's that Josh Allen is throwing the ball, 35, 40 times a game, which is something that I'm pretty sure the Buffalo Bills would have never, ever wanted to do the previous 2 years, but Josh Allen has it. Like, he's just producing. There's no other way to put it. He's just a good quarterback. He's just lighting defenses up. I'm pretty sure his high amount of attempts is due to the fact that their run game is very laughable and their run blocking is not good. But Josh Allen has been resurgent, and he is the first Buffalo Bill in franchise history to win the AFC Offensive Player of the Week award 3 times in 1 year. Josh Allen now has 4 games this season with 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. That passes 2002 Drew Bledsoe and 1991 Jim Kelly for the most in a season in Bills history. And with the Josh Allen to Gabriel Davis connection on the touchdown against Pittsburgh Sunday night, Josh Allen recorded his 35th total touchdown of the season, which is now more total touchdowns in a season than any Buffalo Bill in team history. I don't know if this Bills team can win the Super Bowl. I mean, I mainly want them to because I'm a salty Broncos fan who doesn't want the Chiefs to win anything. But we have seen times where Josh Allen can panic. In a really big game, he can do his best to try to play hero ball. We saw it last year in the wildcard game against the Texans. This Josh Allen is a completely different quarterback. If Josh Allen can just stay poised, just do everything he's doing right now, and the Bills defense can maybe regain some of that 2019 form. I don't think they've been good enough this year to show that they can be as good as they were in 2019 when they were a top 3 defense. Bills Mafia finally got their guy. I know Josh Allen loves the city of Buffalo, and I know the city of Buffalo absolutely loves Josh Allen. And coming into this season, if you told me that Buffalo had a mediocre defense, had literally 0 run game, and Josh Allen was throwing it 40, 50 times a game, then I would have said the Bills are screwed. The Dolphins or Patriots were going to win the division. But the Bills are now one of the best teams in the league. And Josh Allen is going to set that example of that insanely raw, physical, athletic freak who could potentially develop for every young quarterback that shares his stature entering the NFL now. He has set the precedent for he may improve. I'm seeing it right now in Denver. A lot of us have been very disappointed with Drew Lock's play this season, and rightfully so. Like I said, I haven't given up on him yet. I'm not saying that Drew Lock is going to become the next Josh Allen or anything, but Josh Allen has proved to us that you get the right attitude, you get surrounded by the right guys, and your team builds around you and commits a lot of resources to just making sure that you are the best quarterback you can possibly be. You are likely going to have success in the NFL. Alright guys, that is going to do it for the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on Twitter, link is down in the description below. Sub to Dominic on YouTube as well for providing me with that awesome intro in the description below. Anyways guys, have a good day and peace out.